Hey grade 12s, so in today's video we're going to check out Math Paper 2, the June 2024 Gauteng paper. I hope your exams are going well and let's jump right in. So question 1 here, so 1.1 says the data below shows the marks out of 100 obtained by 16 learners in a mathematics test, test 1. Okay, so here we have all of their numbers, all of the marks that they got, and 1.1.1 says calculate the mean mark for the test. So the mean is the average, so that means what we can do is we can add all of these numbers up and divide them by 16, or we can go ahead and use our calculator for the stats mode, because the next question is saying the standard deviation, so it means that we will need all of these values plugged into the calculator so that we can calculate the standard deviation. Cool. So we have our calculator here. What we're going to do is we're going to go mode. We're going to go number 3 over here for our stats mode, and then we're going to click number 1 because we only have one variable here. So once we plug in 1, we can go ahead and we can type in all of these values. So we're going to type in 67, then we're going to click equals, we're going to type in 77, click equals, 26 equals, and so on. Okay. Once we've reached all 16, we can just double check that there were 16 values as they said. So it means we typed in all of the values. And then from here, for the mean or the average for 2 marks, what we can do is we click AC. We then go shift, we then click 1 here for our stats mode, and then we go to number 4 for our variables. Once we click 4, we can go to number 2, the X with the little line above it is our mean. So we click 2, we click equals, and we have a value of 61,375. So we can just go ahead and write that to 2 decimal places. And with that, we just earned 2 marks. So stats is quite a nice section, provided we know how to use our calculator. It basically adds up to about 10% of the paper and is almost free marks, provided we know how to interpret it. What we want to do is work through these questions in this section relatively quickly so that we can save time for the later sections like analytical, Euclidean, and trig, and make sure that we get our marks at the same time. So 1.1.2 then says the standard deviation of the data. So good thing that we typed all of this in our calculator, because we can then click AC again just to clear the current information. We go shift, we then go stats again, we go 4 for our variables, and then what we're going to click this time is the 3. It looks like a little tadpole, a little O with a line here with the X over there. So we click 3, we click equals, and our standard deviation is 19,63. Cool. And with that, we just earned 1 mark over there, because the next question is requiring that we use both answers from 1.1.1 and 1.1.2 to calculate this, because it says the number of learners whose marks are outside one standard deviation of the mean. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this up. We're going to subtract this value from this value over here for one standard deviation lower than the mean, and then we're going to add this value to our mean over here so that we have one standard deviation above the mean. So let me just set that up and then we can explain that further. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our mean minus our standard deviation for the first lower rung over here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add the standard deviation to our mean. So we can just go ahead, rewrite the values of both, and then solve for them in our calculator. So what we've done is we've subtracted our standard deviation from our mean and we've added it to our mean so that we now have a range here for our lower boundary and our upper boundary. What this means is that when we're going to reference the question again, it says the number of learners whose marks are outside one standard deviation of the mean. So that means we have a range with which we can look at these values here and see which of these values do not fall within this range, from the lowest being 41,75 to the highest being 81,01, which means we can just go ahead and count them. These aren't in ascending order, so we just have to look for them. This guy is below this value. This guy is below this value. This guy is above this value. This guy is above this value. So we have 4 so far. 83 is above 81,01 over there. And then 26 over here is also below it. So as we can see, every other value is within the range of one standard deviation on either side of our mean. Okay, our mean is our average. Our standard deviation is just the unit that we subtracted and added to our mean. It's like an increment based on this data, so that we can then interpret the data and figure out which values lie within this range and which values lie on either side of this range. So that means for our final answer, we can just go ahead and write down 6 learners, because 6 learners, as we checked off here, all fall outside of this one standard deviation range. So we write 6 learners, and that'll earn us 2 marks over there, because then from there, question 1.2 says the 16 learners referred to in question 1.1 above wrote a second test, test 2. The box and whisker diagram over here below shows the distribution of marks obtained by the 16 learners in the 2 tests. So test 1 over here was the previous set of data that they put, and then test 2 is now being mapped out so that we can compare it. Question 1.2.1 says describe the skewness of the marks for test 1. So if we're going to break down our box and whisker, what we have at the bottom is our min over here. This is the minimum value that the person got, and it corresponds at 26 over here with the 26 that we see over there. So as soon as we get to the box, we're dealing with Q1. It is the lower quartile. Over here, Q2, this is our median, the middle value of the whole data set. Q3 over here has to do with our upper quartile. And then over here, the maximum value, 94, is the highest mark that someone got in that test over there. So we have our max. This would usually be something along the lines of write the 5-number summary, or using this information to calculate the IQR, the Q3 minus Q1, the interquartile range. But at this stage, what we're doing is we're describing the skewness of the marks for test 1, for 1 mark. The way that we do that is we generally try and look at the shapes of how they are slanted. If something is more to the right, it is generally skewed left. If something is more to the left, it is generally skewed right. But the most accurate way to determine this is to write down our mean over here and compare it to our median. So if we're going to zoom in, we see that our mean is 61,38, correct, from the previous calculation. And if we're going to compare it to our Q2, which is 62 on the dot over there, we have our mean just to the left of our median. Cool. Which means that if our mean is to the left of our Q2, it means that we are skewed to the left. If our mean was to the right of our Q2, it means that we'd be skewed right. So it's all about the relationship between the mean and the Q2 to determine the skewness of our box and whisker. Which means we can just go ahead and write skewed left, and that'll earn us 1 mark. And then question 1.2.2 says, which test was easier for the learners? Give a reason for your answer. Okay, so generally what we're going to compare is the middle value, because that gives us the most accurate data. For the whole box here, it represents 50% of the data. The line to the left is 25%, 25%. So it is split up 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. So that we have the whole split of the 100% of the sample size. But saying that, the maximum and the minimum are not good indicators. The range might be useful. Those guys are generally outliers, so they are less accurate to determine questions like this. Which test was easier? So which test was easier for the learners? Give a reason. What we're going to look at is the Q2 over here for test 2 and the Q2 over there for test 1. And what we can see is that Q2 for test 2 was 66 and Q2 for test 1 was 62, which means that the test that was easier would be the test that the middle value, or at least most of the people, got higher marks for. So that's what we're going to write. We're going to write test 2 was easier as Q2, our median, was 66, and in test 1 it was 62, which ultimately means that 50% of the learners got above 62 for test 1, but 50% of the learners got above 66 for test 2. And that means more people in test 2 got higher marks than test 1. And that just earned us 2 marks over there, which leaves us with the last question here, question 1.2.3. How many learners scored more than 84% in the second test? Okay, so 84%, this lines up over here. 84% is the end of our Q3 over here, which means that we have 25% of people in this range higher than 84%, okay? Which means that there were 16 people, 16 learners that wrote these tests. So all we have to do, it's asking how many learners scored more than 84% in the second test. What we have to do is go 25%, because this 25% represents this line portion over here, multiplied by 16, which is the amount of learners we have, and this will equal 4 learners. And that just earned us 2 marks over there, and a quick 10 marks for this whole section. Great job, guys. Let me know if there are any questions in the comments below, and then I will see you in the next video.